Right, Gary, thanks for speaking to us. When you arrived here at Burton, they had just 2 wins all season in the league. You now need 2 wins in the league to confirm survival for another season in League One. What a journey it's been for you here at the football club.
Yeah, feels a long time ago. But no, I think, nothing's changed from then to today in terms of how we approach the games. Our way of working has not changed leading into this game compared to when, like I say, our very first game against Exeter. So, the players are aware of the way that we work, obviously, and the consistency, and we're not going to be changing that for the remaining 3 games.
What would it mean to you to keep them up this season?
I think you're best probably asking me that if, when, hopefully, that happens.
But sure, you'll think about it, won't you?
No, my honestly, you can ask my wife. At this moment in time, she popped her head round last night and said, "Are we watching Race Against the World?" And I said, "No, I'm watching Cambridge," and that's what I've done on my Wednesday nights and Wednesday days, and nothing's changed. And so she very fondly said, "See you in May then."
Bristol Rovers play first on Saturday, don't they, at 12:30. You're playing Cambridge, so potentially you could knock one side down with Cambridge United directly against you, but then Bristol Rovers playing early, you'll know exactly what you've got to do.
Yeah, well, we know exactly what we're going to do now, and or what we've got to do, and that's obviously try and beat Cambridge regardless of whatever else is happening anyway. And again, going back to when I first arrived at the club, that's exactly how we've approached everything, and nothing's going to change for us. It's an exciting time of the season. If you'd have said when we first walked in that this would be the situation, then yeah, we would have snapped your arm off for it. But we are concentrating on Cambridge, and we can't control, and this is what we've said to the players for months now, and I would like to think if you sat one of the players in front of you, they would answer exactly the same, in the sense of we can't control what Bristol Rovers, what any other teams do other than ourselves against Cambridge.
Will you actively tell the players to stay away from checking their phones, because you know what it's like nowadays?
I think I could actively try and say that, but in this day and age with Twitter and whatever else, I don't want to embarrass myself by mispronouncing the names of 1 or 2 others, but I don't think you can. But what the message has been to the players, even when, if they didn't know and we go to warm up, somebody in the stand might shout something, so you're not going to get away with it. But our main focus, like I say, is controlling what we can control, and that's our efforts, and having a right good go on Saturday.
You have every reason to feel confident at the moment, though, in the fight against survival, don't you?
No, I think, we treat every game and pay the respect to, whoever we're playing the same. Just because it was Birmingham on Monday to, Cambridge to Crawley or whoever else is in our league, we do the work exactly the same, and that's not going to change, and the players know that.
Looks like you're getting stronger at a key point in the season as well, with Varson coming back, Tavares scoring late on against Birmingham City as well. Does it feel that way? You're having to.
Well, it certainly makes it better for me and the group that we have all these bodies available at this particular time. Yet credit to the whole group, and I really mean that, in the sense of when people have been missing, the others have stepped up. Some have only made small contributions, but the impact of them. So, like Jack Stretton, for example, his header that helped set Larson's first ever league goal. So, Lars will never ever forget Jack Stretton in his life, because they'll always remember that. And they're just, the little bits that people sometimes forget, but from our point of view, they don't. They're massive. Everybody's in it together. It's all about us, how we go about these remaining 3 games, and having everybody, or as many people as back as you have for fit and available, is great. the flip of that is it gives me a problem that I have to leave people out, and that's the worst part of the job, as any manager would tell you.
Is that tough sometimes for a manager when you've come on such a journey with certain players?
Yeah, it's the worst part of the job. I always remember when I first started coaching, ironically, at Derby County's under-12s with Pat, when we had our first parents' evening, and we're telling lads at under-12 that sadly they're not going to be here next year. And, you know, that's I'm still telling you that story, and that's, you know, I remember going home and fortunately there was three bottles of beer in my fridge that I used to console myself, because you were telling kids that. It's still the same now when you're leaving senior pros out, or any pro actually, because you see the efforts that they put in all week, and then unless you're totally heartless, you know, it's hard. It really is, telling somebody that, you know, they've not made the squad.
Do you ever find a formula for it? Because everyone's individual, aren't they?
Yeah, the formula I've used, and I'd like to think that the players that would say is, I've just been honest with them. You know, I think that's the most important thing, and you explain your decision, and you understand where they've been or where they are with it. You know, the two lads last week, for example, Jason and Jack Stretton, I had to leave out of the squad. They had every right to be fuming with me about I gave them the opportunity to not be in the dressing room if they felt, you know, that they were too upset, and it was a measure of both of them and the togetherness that this group's got, that they were like, no, we're in the dressing room, and they were in the dressing room, and they were very supportive of the teammates, and that's a testament to them as well and their characters.
So what's the message to the supporters? Big day on Saturday, no bigger than any other Saturday, of course, for you, Gary. But Tuesday, game in hand against Wigan as well. It feels like a big week here at the Pirelli Stadium.
No, like from our point of view, all focus this week has been the next game. I'd say it's, you know, exactly how we've gone about it all season. We're not going to change that. And from our point of view, it's just, you know, going through the game plan, working on the game plan, and obviously getting ready to face, you know, Cambridge, whose manager I know well. We did our pro licence together back in 2017. Not wanting to age the pair of us, but I just have. And at the end of that year, or that season, Neil had won promotion with Millwall via the playoffs, and then I went after him with Blackpool, and we won in the playoffs. So, you know, he's a top bloke, great company, and you know, I know exactly what his teams are going to be about, and especially Cambridge on Saturday.
Will you be sharing a cup of Bovril with him?
No, you can't have me Bovril, but I might share a beer with him.
Cheers, Gary.
Gary, just on specifics with regard to players in and players out, Bob Varson, Anthony Ford were on the bench last week and were able to come on. When you put players on the bench in that situation, are they in the squad because they could do 90 minutes, or are some of them on the bench because actually they couldn't do the whole 90?
Good question. I think the honest answer is it's all specific to the individual, and obviously stage of season, circumstances. Last week, for example, yeah, Ford could have done 90 minutes. Bodvarsson probably couldn't have, but this week, with what we've done with Bodvarsson in training, then, you know, he's closer to 90 minutes.
Yeah, that was my next question, really. If
I thought so.
With that bit that they did last week and another week,
yeah,
they're both now in contention
to
start.
Yeah.
And I thought Ford had played particularly well in the 20 minutes against Huddersfield before he.
Yes, well, he's got experience for us. He's got wonderful delivery from set pieces. So, you know, he was a little bit unfortunate not to make the Exeter one and start against Birmingham. But, you know, that shows the competitiveness of the squad. That Dylan Williams went in at Exeter and did well at Exeter, in my opinion. So, You know, he's been great to have around 4D and passing on his experience.
The fact that Anthony Ford didn't come straight back in is testament to how much of a fist Dylan Williams had made of him.
I think all of them.
Yeah.
I think all of them, and that's what I was saying earlier. You know, the players that we've had missing, you know, as it hurt as well. You would ideally, in an ideal world, like them always fit, but that is, you know, enormous amount of credit to the players that have stepped up and took their opportunities. You know, Larson, for example, and Dylan Williams now, like we speak about, and there's been others throughout the course of the season.
I'd like to ask you a bit about Kyrie Lofthouse.
Yes.
You mentioned before the impact he's had with things he said in the dressing room.
Yeah.
That was a lovely ball for the goal.
Magnificent ball. I think he's been a great signing for us, I really do. When I was seeing him in January and the possibility of him coming here and spoke to him, you know, he wanted to come and play. I knew what he would bring to us in terms of being able to play wing back, full back, centre midfield. He's played this season centre forward for Barnsley, so we knew that was going to be a possibility. And he's just been a fantastic lad to have around the place. And his level of performances, I think, have been good. I think, as ever, he wasn't playing at Barnsley, so when you bring somebody in that hasn't been playing, like we did with JJ, like we did with Vardson, it just takes him a little bit of time. But once he's caught up with the match fitness, he's been excellent, I think.
I know there's a lot of water to go under the bridge yet, but it looked in January like he might have been the sort of loan signing with a view to a permanent, as they say. Is that a possibility?
I don't know really. You know, at the time we were just working that hard to get players in. And again, you know, it's unfair of me to comment on that because he's a Barnsley player and he's contracted to Barnsley next season.
Sure. Okay, thanks.
Okay. We spoke on Monday after the game.
Well done getting the day right, because I had no idea what day it was there.
But there was plenty of positives to set from the game.
Yeah.
Notably getting Bod Varson with minutes under his belt.
And Fabio's goal, like I say, I feel for Fabio. You know, he came on at Bristol Rovers and scored, and then obviously you think, oh, can he now push on? And he picked up the injury, and then he's come back and he's had to bide his time again because of how well Rue's been doing and the way that we just tweaked the system a little bit. And so, you know, he's had to be patient, gets on again and scores a wonderful goal. And he has been really, really lively this week, as you can imagine, with the confidence of the goal. So, again, he's another one that gives us options at the great time.
Yeah. No ill effects after the game on Monday for any of the players?
No. Clean bill of health, which has been a rarity over the last couple of weeks. So that was good coming in on Tuesday, and they've trained well today as well as Tuesday, and so they're looking forward to Saturday now.
Yeah. Is there any other players going to come into contention, like Kieran Gilligan, for example? Or?
No. Unfortunately, Gilly's been back out on the grass, but he's still feeling the effects. That's going to get looked into further now. Jonesy's out of his protective boot, so he's making progress. Bajrami's been out on the grass. Nikokuta's without crutches now, so they're all progressing. Whether any of them will be ready for the end of the season, I very much doubt it.
Just Charlie Webster back.
Charlie Webster obviously has probably felt like he's been training for the London Marathon this weekend with all the extra running he's been doing, but it's his programme that he needs to do before, you know, obviously he's available again for Tuesday.
Yeah. Special mention to the under-18s who did a fantastic job on Tuesday down at Bromley.
It was really good because there's been, since I've been here, Gilly and his staff have been brilliant with us, and we've tried to integrate some of the players. and myself, Pat, from an academy background, so we understand the importance of an academy and giving opportunity to academy players. And it was great. Tom was giving me updates regularly, and John Brayford was giving me updates regularly. Pat was giving me updates regularly, and that just shows you the interest that people have in the academy, and how good the staff are, and how we were all wishing them well. And then as a nice little touch, Kelly Hyde mentioned the possibility of bringing them up this morning, so they all come and joined us for breakfast, and it was brilliant because as they all walked in, they just burst into a round of applause, the first team lads, and made them feel really special. And then they had some breakfast with us, and Sweens then presented Taz with the trophy, and I thought it was a real good touch from everybody involved. And just to make those, listen, it's very, very difficult, isn't it, being a professional footballer, and some of those lads might not make it, and that might be the highlight of their career as a footballer, but it's a bloody good one to have, winning a cup.
Yeah, and they've still got the final now going to be on May the 7th, and hopefully it'll be a bit of a celebration for staying up, hopefully.
Yeah.
As well.
We'll see.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Gary, I forgot to ask you about Udoka Godwin Malifi. Came off last week. Is he all right?
Yeah, he's fine. No problems. After the Exeter one, he just felt that he was a bit fatigued, and that was the same on Monday. Yeah, so he's fine. He's trained all week.
Thanks.
Perfect. Thanks, Gary.